At the end of '69, it was about December '69, I was invited to lecture by Prabhupada, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Well, I used to arrange festivals for Srila Prabhupada when he used to come to the UK and also Scotland. And at that time he told me that he very much appreciated this festival. Africa just came in because one devotee who'd been to Africa told me that he had an idea to do a traveling kind of safari across Africa. So I liked the idea. So that sort of planted in my mind. So I came down there and then I saw the potential.
Since 1995, a group of devotees based in the UK have been producing what they call the Hare Krishna Festival throughout the world. To date, they have hosted more than 90 free festivals. Their goal is to reach people who much of the world has forgotten and to entertain them with philosophy and spiritual culture. Along the way, they have distributed over 260,000 vegetarian meals and 120,000 spiritual books. In 1998, the festival team spent 2 months in East Africa, traveling through Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Malawi, and Zambia. Sri Bhuvanath Das has been directing the team since 1995.
I think people are naturally inquisitive towards God, and Africa is probably one of the most God-fearing continents. What I've seen throughout Africa is there's somewhat an easy acceptance of God.
We should understand that life is sacred because it comes from God. Now, where does life come from? Life comes from the soul. The soul is the spiritual spark of God.
My main objective is to appeal to people's intelligence. People in Africa, like anywhere else, are suffering different types of misery. And like any intelligent human being, they question their existence.
God is our greatest friend. There is no greater friend to us than God.
These festivals, you've got to look at different content values. One is entertainment. People like to be entertained. Dramas are a good medium for entertainment, but they're also very good at putting across philosophy, especially in a kind of simple way. And of course, Krishna consciousness is always a sort of festival, so chanting, dancing. Africa is not like Europe, it's not like the West. There's communication problems, there's road transport problems, there's sickness problems. Last time 5 people caught malaria. This time we haven't had malaria, we've had other problems. So generally to get things done in Africa, anyone who lives in Africa or works in Africa knows that one can be besieged with problems. But the main thing is that you get the job done. It's customary for, at least with devotees, to share their food. If they have food, they should share it. There's areas we go to where there is intense poverty, and so we're actually contributing something. We're not just coming to talk philosophy, we're actually giving them something. And then there's a spiritual benefit because the food is offered to Krishna.
A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, also known as Srila Prabhupada, was a spiritual teacher who touched the lives of millions of people all over the world. He founded the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, a worldwide society of over 400 temples, farm communities, and spiritual schools. After Srila Prabhupada's passing away in 1977, his disciples began to document their interactions with Srila Prabhupada and preserve them for future generations. In the early 1980s, thousands of disciples sent in letters and diaries for use in a biography written by Satsvarup Das Goswami, one of Prabhupada's senior disciples. The biography is called Prabhupada Lilamrita. But another disciple, Sid Hunter, or Siddhanta Das, is gathering the memories of students on video. This is a unique concept in the effort to chronicle the teachings of Prabhupada, because it gives insight into the way his students were personally affected by his presence.
Before I had joined the movement, I was a film editor for a production company in Dallas, Texas, and in Denver, Colorado. Well, the first time that I thought about creating a series, Memories of Prabhupada series, was when years ago we had Shruti Kirti come in to the studio, I think during a Rath Yatra, and he came down and we interviewed him, and he started talking about his memories and pastimes with Prabhupada as his secretary or as his servant. And I remember videotaping him and listening to the stories, and they were like captivating and enthralling to the point where I couldn't stop listening. I wanted more.
Shruti Kirti Das was Prabhupada's secretary and personal assistant for many years.
He would say that. He would say, so why do you do this? And I would say, I'm just a fool. And at the one time he said to me, he said, you are no fun, he said, to argue with. He said, because you never fight back.
For the followers of Srila Prabhupada, recording his life and teachings is crucial. The wisdom of many of the world's greatest prophets and leaders is often obscured and lost over time. Much effort has been placed on preserving memories of Srila Prabhupada to keep his message intact.
There was one occasion when we were flying from Singapore to Australia, and Hare was his personal servant at the time. The plane must have hit an air pocket or something, and it seemed to drop very, very quickly, maybe 5,000 or 10,000 feet, it seemed like. My stomach was in my head, that's all I could think of. And it was like going down a roller coaster, but it was a huge roller coaster because it just continued for about 5 or 10 seconds. And I remember getting up, and I was pretty shaken, although I was chanting at the time. And walking up to Srila Prabhupada in the front cabin and asking him if he was all right. And he looked like nothing had happened at all. And I asked Srila Prabhupada, are you okay? And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, we can die at any time.
These video interviews, called Prabhupada Memories, allow future generations to relate to the practical teachings that Srila Prabhupada gave to his disciples. The response was great. Many of Prabhupada's students were more than eager to share their memories of this spiritual legacy.
At the present time, I know that I've interviewed over 100 devotees, and I haven't counted them all, but I think I know that I've got memories up to part 24 at this point, each one 2 hours in length. And at the present time, I have enough devotees on the shelf that I've interviewed already, but haven't edited for another 4 or 5 tapes.
This has begun to affect many people, including some who have never met Srila Prabhupada.
And I think that the combination of having seen Prabhupada so many times on film, having read his books, and having been exposed to his biography, was so meaningful to me. And I was explaining this to this person. So at some point, this person interrupted me and said, so when did you meet him? And it hit me like a hammer that I never had. And I forget, in all the years since, that I have never met Prabhupada. And to me, that is something which speaks of his purity and his potency. And I am so touched by hearing everyone's association with Srila Prabhupada.
Establishing a living spiritual tradition was one of Srila Prabhupada's goals when he founded the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, or ISKCON, in the 1960s. For the disciples of Prabhupada, these videos may prove to be a successful means of bringing his teachings to another generation of devotees.
He's a very special person to me, actually. He's like a father. I see him as a father to me, as someone who takes care of me. And I think it's really amazing what he's done in the last, what he's done in the amount of time he had to do it. It was amazing. I don't think anyone else could do what he did. No one.
Siddhanta is continuing to produce the Prabhupada Memories series and has plans to eventually compile them into one or more volumes of books.